Hello everybody, we're live. We're just doing a little dual Instagram.
Okay, hi Instagram. So as I told you guys, I was going to, actually, do you know what I want to do? I want to turn comments off at first. Do you know how to do that, Bob? Oh, there we go.
Stop.
I just wanted to come on. I told you guys I would. James is here. Do you want to come in closer to me, Bob? I told you guys I would because I felt a bit bad after the last live I did. I felt like I talked a lot about, I took all your questions and I talked a lot about calories and macros, which is amazing because it's the way that I diet and the way that I recommend all my clients and followers diet. But I am also aware that it's very advanced and that not everybody wants to count calories, track macros, or download my Fitness Pal. They kind of just want beginner's advice. I get a lot of inquiries about like, where do I start? How do I begin? And so I just wanted to turn off commenting for the first few minutes and just get through kind of the beginning phases. I know it's Friday night, a lot of people are out, but hopefully you can watch this for the next 24 hours. So basically, the first place I would start is if you want to get in shape and you really don't know what to do and you really don't know where to start, all you know is that you like shit food and it just seems like an absolute mountain to climb. I would say the first thing that you should always look to do is to clean up your diet. And that means you need to look at food as in like clean single ingredient foods. I know that clean eating gets really bad press now. It's like, I don't know, some kind of offset to an eating disorder. It's not. It's healthy eating. Everybody knows what it means. It makes sense. Like, you know, it's not on trend. It's just a very good way to sum up.
Of nutritional care, trying to come out, getting on.
Square one, where you should aim.
Is I think keeping things super simple.
Rice, didn't you, for like every meal for weeks on end? And I hope that I've shown you that you don't need to do that.
Yeah, I mean, when I decided to get into shape early on, you know, I was very lucky to work with some you know, good nutritionists, Matt Lovell, Phil Lerney. I was eating 5 or 6 meals a day. I was eating cold fish and brown rice in the afternoons, and I was having, you know, boiled chicken and rice and loads of green vegetables. And yeah, look, I took things back to basics, but let's just put it this way: there was a lack of flavour, and it kind of profoundly changed the way I ate. And if any of you have ever gone on YouTube and watched that bloke who talks about eating.
Second step, carbs, a handful of protein, 2 big handfuls of veg. Portion sizes for your meal, so your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. And in between, if you want a snack, I would always personally recommend snacking on protein. So you can get those snack packs of like chicken and prawns and 0% Greek yogurt, a protein shake, a protein bar, the good ones. There's a lot of bad ones out there. Snack on protein, because it should always be, in my opinion, your dominant macro, regardless of your goal. So once you start to do that, I don't actually want to get into training on this live because we'll just be here forever. I just want to stick to diet, and then I'm going to turn the comments on. You guys can ask any questions you want about diet, macros, calories, clean eating, anything. Then I would say that a really good thing to do is to download a tracking app on your phone. We love my Fitness Pal. It's really simple and easy to use. I don't use it to track my exercise or my calories burned, nothing like that, just my dietary intake. I put in my own calorie count that I know, I don't let it determine it for me, and my own macro split that I want, again, I don't let it determine it for me. And I start to enter my food throughout the day. A lot of the time I will weigh it, but a lot of the food that I actually buy has the weight on the packet, and I'm also quite good at now knowing how much things weigh. And I track my food throughout the day, and it tells me how many calories I'm coming out at. And what you want to do is you want to find out basically what your BMR is, which is your basal metabolic rate, what your TDE is, put it in, which is your total daily energy expenditure, which is how much you train every day. Put it in, and you want to make sure that if you want fat loss, you're in a little bit of a deficit, so a little bit under your TDE. If you want maintenance, that you're hitting your TDE every day. And if you want muscle gain, that you're going just over your TDE. And that is where you should start with calorie counting. I know that you have an opinion on people not eating enough and then moaning and complaining that they can't gain.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, you know, the reason I love what Chloe does and why she's helped me and what we've tried to do with both of our books coming out, so just keep things really simple and make sure that, you know, I used to I grew up reading Men's Health magazine. One minute I was doing something else, one minute I was doing this, one minute I was doing that, and I just think it's very important to get an understanding of what you're doing, especially with nutrition. Understand it doesn't have to be super complicated, and that if you're not gaining the size you want, and that's something that people say to me a lot, I'm just not gaining, I eat all the time, my metabolism's super fast, I'm one of those people with super fast metabolism. My first reaction to you is that you're just not eating enough. Like, yes, there are people who struggle to gain size. Trying to gain muscle, trying to put on size is a full-time kind of. A lot of people are saying, look, I eat this, and you ask them what they eat, and they're like, right, well, actually, do you know what? I'm eating 2 meals a day, and I'm having this, and I'm having a prep sandwich at lunch. Like, you're just not hitting. You're just not in that calorie surplus. You're just not in a position to gain. And then if you are eating that stuff, and we're not going to talk about training today, but then you've got to look at your training, and equally with fat loss. If you're getting no results, a lot of people turn around and say, yeah, do you know what? Monday to Friday, I eat real well, and then I let my hair down on the weekend. It's like, look, if you're serious about changing your body, either gaining size or losing weight, you have to stay focused, and you have to understand that your diet will be the key to all of that. And from my side, because fat loss is not something that I focus dramatically on, you have to eat, and like, it would shock you the amount of food. Like, I'm on 3,750 calories. Don't go and try that out there, because some of you need more, some of you need way less. I'm on that, and I struggle to get through that in a day. But then you've got people talking about they're eating 5,000, 6,000 calories, and you've got people going, I eat really well, and then you actually look at it and they're only eating 2,500 calories, and they're probably just below their TDE, and they're not getting the results they want.
Yeah, it's really important to kind of make sure that your calories match your goals. So I have put up a new post on fitnessfondue.com, which is my website today, about the calorie counts that I started on, where I'm at now, where I hope to end up. I started at my TDE because my metabolic rate was a mess, and I've slowly come down into a deficit. He's slowly come up into a surplus, which he can do because he's full of muscle, trains all day long, and he's actually been losing, which is good, because I think you wanted to come down a bit, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I know that it was very nice actually. The lightest I was when I just before I left Wasps, when I was 23, 24, I just don't spend any time in the gym doing any kind of muscle building exercises, any kind of hypertrophy.
I lift more weights than James.
I don't really do any of that at all. Diet's what maintains me. My target is to get a lower % body fat, and again, I don't want to go off topic, but the one thing I talk a lot about is that if you want to change, if you want to get control, if things aren't going well outside of your job or your personal life and everything else like that, then controlling. For me, coming back from holiday, coming back from surgery, I said to Chloe, listen, I really want to make sure my diet's on point. I want to control these things. I want to eat really well. I want to enjoy my food, which she's taught me to do. There's no white fish and brown rice and everything else, unless it's full of flavour, or rice crackers, unless they're caramel Snacker Jack ones. And it's really important that I got control of myself and set myself a target, and I've done that, and it's great, because it means that every day you have a focus, there's a reason for doing what you do, and with that control, the rest of your life can kind of fall into place.
Yeah, there's definitely, it can be really hard at first to track calories and macros, but it does get easy and easier and easier, and then before you know it, it's just so easy, it's habit, and it does give you a sense of well-being and mental and physical health, that you know what you're putting in your body and you're in control of it without developing an eating disorder, or I know that the press love to sensationalize anybody who is on top of their diet or health and fitness as being completely insane. They do it to me all the time, but
you are completely insane.
I am completely insane, but not in that sense, luckily for me, but actually I've also found from all my clients that it can really help people who do struggle with eating disorders, either way of the spectrum, to channel their kind of OCD tendencies with food into something healthy and beneficial, which will help them get better. In my experience, that's what my clients and my followers tend to tell me. So, right, moving on from calories, then you can start to look at your macros. So, a really good macro split, I would say, which I learned from Matt Lovell, is a 2-1-1 macro split. So that's 2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight, 1 gram of fat per kilogram of body weight, 1 gram of carb per kilogram of body weight, and that should bring you out to your BMR, no matter who you are. Then what you do is you find out what your TDE is, so how much are you burning in a session, and you add those calories onto your BMR if you want maintenance. If you want a loss, you want to be in a calorie deficit, and if you want to gain muscle, you need to be in a calorie surplus. In terms of how you change your macros around that number, I would say 2 on 1, again, protein, fats and carbs. If you're looking for fat loss, time your carbs pre and post workout only. If you're looking for muscle gain, it can be an even split between protein and carbs with your added TDE calories. And if you're looking for maintenance, split it evenly, it's fine. So that is how I would say work up from clean eating. And yeah, I've written a new dietary download, which will be out next week on fitnessq+A.com, which is going to be a lot of goals.
Up here is I'm on Facebook Live as well. So if anyone wants to ask some questions, then please fire them across. We'll kind of balance them out. I don't want to go too much into rugby, to be honest with you. So yeah, just let me know what you guys want to know.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah, so does anybody have any questions about clean eating, calories, macros, anything like that, recipes, whatever you want?
Someone actually asked on my one about the ketone diet.
Keto, going into ketosis. Yeah, I am a really big fan of a high protein, high fat diet. You know, they are incredibly important, really. You can push your body into a really good fat burning state. I'm a big fan of a carb cycle, so I do a form of ketogenic diet, but then I also carb load on certain days of the week. This is all in my book, The 4-Week Body Blitz. So if you are interested in carb cycling, look at that. If you want to stick to a ketotic diet, that's completely fine as well. I personally like to fill my muscles up every now and again because training is a lot more fun for me in the days that follow, and I love carbs, so I don't want to cut them out for good.
Someone asked me on the Facebook Live here what the best pre-match and post-match meal is. Look, you know, a lot of people do things differently. When I was at school, you know, I used to think that eating a pile of carbs the night before was great. Again, a lot of hearsay, a lot of conjecture as to what was right and what was wrong. You know, now I keep my eating very consistent throughout the week. You know, so I don't load before games. That, you know, I've worked with, as I said, different nutritionists, talked about doing things differently in the week, like having certain days with not a lot of carbs, and then towards the end of the week building back up to those carbs to help recovery. I'm very consistent. You know, I've got, I think it's about 400 grams of carbs I'm having per day, you know, split across the meals I have. You know, a lot of my carbs are centered around pre and post training to make sure that I'm fueling what I do. You know, a lot of times in the past I was going to training, not getting the, you know, either not eating the right amount of food, not fueling my training, coming back tired, not fueling my recovery. So, you know, I think that depending on what your body composition goals are, what you're trying to do, consistently through the week. Pre-match, I would always have, ideally if Chloe's we're doing stuff at home, or if you're in a hotel, it can be quite difficult, but the basics should always stay the same. I go for the single ingredient foods like sweet potato mash, or brown rice, things that repeat on you, and then obviously, you know, hydrate. I'll rehydrate. The hydration for 9 weeks.
It's been so long, it's helped.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jenna, really good question. Says, maybe a silly question. I would say should be had if you are on a fat loss diet, it's fine if you it. And there is literally so I would say pre and post workout if you are looking for fat loss. If you're looking for maintenance or muscle building, count it as a carb and just make sure that it's a really good thing.
Someone asked just on Facebook Live here, do we ever forget to fitness, let our hair down and have a drink? You know, a lot of people believe that there's obviously a huge drinking culture within rugby. Yeah, I'm sure there is. In professional rugby game, having a couple of glasses of red wine, you know, go weeks, months.
The calories, which means your body's going to use it as soon as by counting calories and macros is really a good place to build up. 10. Every time they just fall off the wagon, they start eating. Okay, protein bars, in my opinion, should usually be had post-workout, and they will really help you if you have a sweet tooth. So because they only have 2-3 grams of carbs in them, which is less high carb, unless low carb, but just not as low. What's your advice for macros on carb to bring you out to your BMR and to a slight deficit? You were on high fat, high protein breakfast when I
a black coffee with a spoonful of coconut oil, a steak, because it wasn't hitting my, you know, I think with the 2 sessions.
James is 32 and in the rugby world he's like 80 and needs a Zimmer frame to get.
I wish we were sponsored by MyFitnessPal.
Do you drink or eat pizza? Yes, we do both. We just
love pizza.
Know when and where to do
Papa
it.
John's.
How much you're eating roughly every day at the moment. You can either add 100 calories onto your daily intake, or you can add a meal into your day. You start slow. You don't have to start giving like 120%. Like, you can start small, add a meal in or add a snack in. Let your body get used to that, let your metabolism fire up, and then start to add in more. And that's how you do it. Ed Sharvington.
What's Pervington saying?
My question is, why do you always...
There's a few lads who do that. Just to let you know, showering with your pants on is weird. What are you hiding or what you're not hiding? Camera and take photos. Very odd character.
Do you... He's always getting involved. What? Anyway, not relevant. Do you have cheat days or meals, and if so, how often? Yes, we do. I, at the moment, I'm trying really hard to get in shape for my book launch, because my book is out December 28th, and I have a lot of shoots around it, and I got a lot of appearances around it, and I gained a lot of weight this summer, so I'm trying, and I get right back on it the next day in the gym, and he has a rest day. Week is ideal. What are superfoods? Super nutritious foods, bruv. So 0% Greek yogurt and fat.
I like eggs normally, but like putting egg whites in your shakes, that, you know, putting it into food so you don't really taste them's not a problem. I used to drink them.
That doesn't surprise me. How many days a week do I need to train? I would recommend at least 4 if you want to change your body. But it's trial and error. I mean, what do you think, babe?
I think, look, obviously answering that question, you either don't train or want to start training, or do train, you're not sure. I think, look, if you've never trained, then there's no point saying you're going to train 5 days a week. Say I'm going to do 10 minutes once a week and see if you do that. And if you do that, build up to, you know, twice a week 10 and go from there. I think that, you know, the thing with training and everything else like that is that once you start relying on a PT that you trust, find a plan and a week body blitz, some of the results she's got of her beginning. But give yourself a bit of time and stick to it. Garbage, and by all means go and find something else. But if Sally's doing this sick ass plan where it involves like drinking, you know, booty, whatever crap that is, and training once a day, and update stuff.
Right. So, she's a boss. Saying, how long do you bulk and how long do you cut? So I would say it completely depends. We cut or more. I mean, you can a really good time to really lift, weight, heavy. Again, 4 days a week, 4 to 6 days a week, trial and error, everybody's different. Like HIIT, so something that's going to encourage your body to build and hold on to muscle, as opposed to potentially pushing it into a catabolic state where it eats muscle. And I would muscle human beings, we are going to gain some fat, and then start to give yourself an equal amount of time to start to cut, to start to slowly pull your, so yeah, cardio fasted or not helps, or you can do it after weightlifting.
Cheat day, rest day, I don't know what that means.
Okay, well just
what are you thinking? Any questions, guys? Fire them over on the Facebook Live.
We've got enough questions here. You feel free to read mine, bub. What's your single best advice for beginners? One step at a time. If you know that your diet's awful, try and clean it up for the majority of the day. Or if it's good the majority of the week and you fall off the wagon at the weekend, try and clean it up for the whole week and have one night off a week. If you find it really hard to train every day, then try and train 3 days a week. Like, just slow, baby steps, and find your way. What's your best advice for beginners?
Yeah, I think everyone says keep it simple, but it's actually getting up and doing. So a lot of times people focus on, and this goes for anything, you know, whether it's training or not, is that obviously there's the process of what you're trying to do. So there's, you know, finding a plan, there's getting a little bit of information about what you do and changing a couple of things. So for example, you know, so you know the diet's bad. Well, you know, you could instantly go, I'll cut out anything like junk food and refined food. If you don't train and you don't really know anything about training, you know, going to the gym or doing some body weight stuff at home is really easy, but that's kind of the process. But what you need to do is the execution. So many people are tentative and it seems like a big thing in your mind, where it'd be great to just Marcus Garrett's just asked me how you get bigger arms. I don't know, sir. You tell me. You're the ambassador of bigger arms. I think it's just important that you kind of actually go out and do it. Take the steps for beginners. Make sure you actually start doing it. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about it. It can be all a bit daunting, but just try and do some bits and actually get going, and then you can refine your process. But execution is super important.
Okay guys, I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna have to bounce and go make myself some food. But look, I wrote an update on fitnessfondue.com, which is my website, it's my blog. I wrote an update today. Go and read it, because I talk about metabolism, gaining weight, getting back into shape, cardio, calories, training. My website has a lot on it. I've also got a diet guide, which I'm putting up next week, which is going to talk you through a food bible, a recipes guide, calories, macros, the whole thing, and how to calculate it all for you and how to track it all for you. So that's to tide people over till my book comes out, the 4-week body blend.
Business. Is there anything you want to get off your chest about any topic?
Apps.
No, I mean, not even talking about that. I'm talking about any other business. Like
I thought you meant like. I thought you were taking
no
a
more
piss.
products.
Like,
no,
do you
no,
want to
no,
plug yourself?
no. I'm just thinking.
No,
it's always...
I swear to God, I obviously, like, I make money off of my job, obviously, but I love what I do, and I love it because I genuinely want to help everybody figure it out as well. Because once you figure it out, my God, it's so easy. People just struggle because they can't figure it out.
Do you want to get something off your chest? Anything you'd like to tell everyone? Like I'm astounded every day. It's just my thing. It's not a lot to do with fitness. Donald Trump's Twitter, really stressing me out. I'll never be in a position of that much power. But what the F is the man doing? Like he is just unbelievable. And what I'm amazed about though is that
he's the president of the United
States. Yeah, but that's like, so
America.
to take that out of it is that I've now lost the ability to read. Is he bald? Like
Donald Trump is full of shit. Don't trust.
Yeah, but you say that, but I'm confused now. I know he's a terrible person, but I'm very confused. So that's my other business. I don't know if anyone else has got to share anything anyone wants to say. Have you got anything else you want to get off your chest? Nothing? Come on, there must be something to be eating you away. I mean, we don't want to delve into any... I mean, I brushed your knee now. Am I going to have to... Oh dear. Nothing you want to get off your chest? Nothing? And any other business? There must be something you that's stressed you out.
You don't want me to have a rant, because...
Well, we don't have to go full rant. It's just nice to get a few. I mean, I've done Trump. I've had a lovely afternoon in my digger. I recommend everyone get a digger. How are you feeling about not getting the pigs? I said no rugby questions. Oh, mate. How many times do you think I've been asked that question? Obviously, I'm very disappointed. I'd love to be out there. I was wondering if I could go in disguise. I wonder if they notice if I went like that.
You could go like that, you'd be the clown.
Oh, yeah, I could be the clown, actually. I tell you what.
Or do all the training and get none of the glory.
Yeah, this is true. Okay, lastly from me, got loads of videos coming out. I've done a little bit of a kind of a rugby, not a rugby thing, what do I want to say? My diary of a day, of a match day, which I'll share with you guys. It's going to come out soon. I've got a book coming out in January. Thanks very much. Have you thought of any other business? You're just quite a happy girl, aren't you?
I don't want to go on a rant about anything, because it's just, I've just seen my parents, you, everybody do it, and you just get yourselves into
No, well, you don't have to go too turbo. It's just nice to get some stuff off your chest. But thanks so much, guys, for watching. Really appreciate it.
Oh, I do want to say something.
Oh, I knew there was something.
Just so we're clear, my dad does not highlight his hair. He's got like blonde.
Wow, does he?
No, he really doesn't. He's got blonde streaks in his hair. He's always had them. He spends a lot of time in the sun. He is a sun worshipper. And that is why sometimes he's on TV with like blondie streaks at top and darker on the bottom. And
So he's
I've
not having a
inherited it from him.
It's not having a little tint job then?
No, not at all. Like, people are so weird.
Just a bit of a blue rinse every now and then?
Oh,
Talk to me about blue rinses and old people. What's that about? Who's gone, oh, I've turned 70, let's dye your hair blue? I mean, I'm to be honest with you.
In the rugby world, you're 70, so you're going to dye your hair blue.
No, I won't have any hair by the time I'm 70. I'll be completely bald. I'll be like a cue ball. So will you?
We'll be two bald uglies.
Right, love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you soon.
Two old